What's going on, favorite followers? Check this out. Today we'll be covering episode 1 to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's just dropped on Disney Plus. It's going to be a good refill for us that are lacking from missing WandaVision for a whole week, right? But, anyways, if you haven't subscribed already, do so and like and leave comments. So, going into episode 1, we find Sam Wilson actually on a secret op mission. And he's on a rescue mission. Basically, an Air Force airplane has been hijacked, and is hijacked by no other than George St. Pierre from UFC, that he portrayed actually in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Sam goes over there, does an op mission, rescue. Actually has eyes on the ground, which is another soldier actually in uniform that is in a Humvee, and Sam is there trying to battle these terrorists that have hijacked this plane secretly, because the U.S. can't have any affiliation that they were actually there at the moment. And before he hits the other international border where it would cause more problems, he's trying to battle these terrorists in flight. They jump out of their airplane in these those squirrel suits, you know what I mean, and then get into another helicopter. Anyway, Sam is doing what he does best, fighting them off, rescues the day, links up with his buddy that's actually from the Air Force, who's pursuing this radical group called the Flag Smashers too, but the story picks up a little bit on that. He has an intercation. Then you see Sam and trying to work on Red Wing. Looks like that Red Wing's actually been worked on by the government a couple times. He's saying that every time they mess with it, it's been screwed up. But nonetheless, that's where we find Sam at the end of his mission. And then we fast forward where he's actually going to release the Captain America shield back to the government, and which he does. He gives a little speech. Rhodey, War Machine, is actually there, but in uniform as an Air Force officer. And rightfully so. It wasn't like shoehorned in or anything. It was perfectly fit because he was dealing with the Air Force earlier. So they grab the shield, they put it in an encasing, and he leaves that, and he ends up going back to Louisiana, which is his home originally, where they're actually dealing with other struggles and real life struggles of trying to get a loan because his mama's house is about to be taken, and also the business, which his sister's trying to get a loan. And it gives you kind of real world where how do heroes really earn their living, right? So you see him at the bank, and he doesn't even get approved for the actual loan, believe it or not, even being Falcon. Then we fast forward and we catch Bucky. First, he's having a nightmare, which it was pleasantly surprised that the nightmare actually showed flashbacks of him as the Winter Soldier, which is my favorite iteration of him actually. And I was really excited to see it actually. Then you find out it's a dream. He wakes up, and then he's talking to his therapist. His therapist asks him if he had a dream, and he keeps denying it. And there's this actual checklist, three steps that they require from him because he's been pardoned for his crimes actually, because they realized it wasn't him actually. It was he was being manipulated by Hydra. So after that, he talks to the therapist quite some time. He actually living isolated on his own, and he hooks up. I don't know if he's in Chinatown or something like that, but he ends up hooking up with this older gentleman, want to take him out to lunch and everything. But he's extremely kind to the guy, and you kind of can't figure out just why is that just him being genuine, or there's some purpose for it. But he offers to take the guy to lunch and everything and all that. And while he's taking him to lunch at the bar, the old guy actually tries to hook him up with some girl that works at the bar, and he ends up accepting the date. So moving fast forward past that, it goes back and forth where Sam's dealing with his personal stuff at home, and Bucky is trying to make amends. Basically, he's basically making amends for all his crimes. He's feeling guilty about it, just like when he murdered Tony Stark's parents. He told Captain America, "Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, it wasn't. I wasn't in the right mind. I didn't do it on purpose, basically. But nonetheless, it was me who did it." So he's feeling guilty about it. So he's got a checklist basically of people that he's trying to correct basically at the end of the day, but in a good way. He's finding people that he actually helped while he was working for Hydra and getting them arrested and trying to help other people. So this older gentleman, like I said, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So nonetheless, later that night, he actually goes on a date with the young lady. They're playing Battleship, kind of icebreaker. And she's asking him questions back and forth, basically trying to get to know him. And they mentioned the old man again. And the problem with the old man, when he talked to him earlier, he was suffering from depression because his son had got murdered and overseas. And I thought, I'm not gonna lie to you, the way it was played out, I honestly thought that Bucky was gonna snap and be like, you know what, forget this. I'm not gonna try to do this and try to be clean. I'm gonna go find out who killed this guy's son and be on a mission. That's exactly where I thought it was leading to. But nonetheless, towards the end, as we realize, Bucky, mind you, Bucky and Sam have not linked up in this whole episode at all, not one time. So they haven't even hooked up yet. And Agent 13 or Zemo hasn't showed up either. So we're at toward, they're dealing with that on both sides. And then when you find that later that night when Bucky's with that girl, she mentions about that guy's son again, and he just couldn't take enough, and he just leaves from their date and goes to the gentleman's apartment and knocks on the door, and the guy's like, basically, it's late, he's like, what do you need, basically? And Bucky's like, oh, I just wanted to drop up the money because I told you I was gonna pay for lunch. But when that happens, the scene shows that when the gentleman opens his door, he has a little shrine of his son there, and the picture is actually from the dream that Bucky had of the gentleman that he actually murdered. So now it all makes sense. He's trying to make amends. He's trying to, basically make amends to this old man without telling him that he's the one that actually murdered his son. So it leaves you on that cliffhanger, at least with Bucky's side of the story. And then Sam, right at the end, his sister comes up and says, hey, you need to watch this on TV, right? And right at the end, they show the government has reinstated the Captain America shield and has made a new Captain America, saying that the United States needs a new hero. And sure enough, it's the new Captain America, which in the comics is pretty much U.S. agent. So that's where it leaves us at. So I think it was pretty solid. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I really liked it for the most part. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next. They only have so many episodes, so they need to kind of speed it up. But overall, I give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And we'll be doing this every week. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. And like always, stay faithful.